Well, welcome. I'm Perry Williams, and we're at Westfield, and I'm going to talk to Westfield head girls basketball coach Ginny Smith. Welcome, Ginny.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. Couple things, Coach. It's going to be a little bit different year. It's going to be kind of a new team and a new identity. Last year, the winningest team in Westfield history, and those six seniors are gone. So, and that's the one thing that being in high school basketball and coaching, that's one of the good things and the bad things, okay? You have a group of kids that come through and are very, very talented, and you have much success, but then life goes on, and you have to rebuild.
Yeah, absolutely. I think coming into this job, I was incredibly fortunate to inherit a great veteran group of young ladies that knew how to win, knew how to lead. Shane did a nice job making sure that, the foundation was laid, and it was just something, it was really easy for me to step into that role. We had a lot of success. The season didn't end quite like we'd like for it to, but at the end of the day, there's always a winner and a loser, and we just happen to be on the losing end of things. And like you said, all good things come to an end, but at the same time, we are a new team this year, new identity, a lot of great kids. We're young, we're inexperienced in terms of just, the play at the varsity level. But I will say there's a renewed sense that I get as a coach and that those kids are bringing to the table every day. There's something to be said for a group of young ladies who have followed behind such a successful group of kids. And they have been they're inside just dying for an opportunity to show everybody, what it is that they can offer as well. So with that, we've had some great, early on our practice environment's great. Kids are busting their tails each and every day. It's a battle out there. And as a coach, I couldn't ask for anything more from those kids.
Well, I think you learn too, Coach, as you've been around the game for a while, and in this situation, like we talked off air about other teams, that senior leadership you had last year will go on and already made a difference in this year's team, because the three seniors you have and the two players that you had that got some playing experience last year, they want their chance, and that's exactly what you're saying. They're going to get their chance this year. And one of the things I noticed on your roster too, because you have it set up with your varsity and JV, but there's a lot of young freshmen on that JV team.
Got a lot of new faces. I love this freshman group of kids. Raw, but so coachable. We're talking, we're teaching, we're going through things, and they're locked in and they're learning. And the beautiful thing about all of it is Morgan Clary is a senior this year. She played quite a bit last year with that core group of seniors that left. And Morgan is a great leader, and she does so not necessarily vocally, but she's that kid that she does all of the little things, and she does it as hard as she can every single time. And so I can't think of what better leader to put in front of those freshmen to see, this is what it's supposed to be like. And she sets a high standard, and those kids work really hard to follow.
And the one thing about it, we always forget this when we bring up those young players, especially freshmen, is they just stepped out of 8th grade middle school basketball, okay? And the one thing about it, the situation that they face in that, they're very talented kids, no doubt about that. But when they go over and play Carmel, there's 3 or 4 middle schools, so they're not all together. So it is a huge step from an 8th grader to go even to JV.
Yeah.
Or, those ones that cream at the top.
Yeah.
Freshmen that go to varsity, that is a huge step, and we can't forget that.
No, it is huge, and I think, you just have to realize there is going to be a learning curve no matter how you look at it, and no matter how talented they are as a freshman. Everything about the game is very different at the varsity level than at the 8th grade level. So I just think, you have to go into it with an open mind and know that, you're going to have to be a little more lenient early on with some of those young kids and know that, they're going to learn. It might take them a little longer, but they'll get there.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one thing that's great, and especially in girls basketball today, in my mind, is a lot of these kids play AAU basketball.
Right. Yeah.
But it is totally different because you spend hours upon hours reviewing video, doing those type things.
Yeah.
when you play AAU ball, you go out there, you throw it up, and you
Yeah.
play basketball.
Well,
So
and we
there's a little
spend-
bit,
And we spend hours upon hours trying to teach skill, trying to make sure that team concepts and fundamentals are in place, and then they go out in one single summer and they can throw all that skill development
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
right out the window.
Yeah.
So it is very different. However, AAU does give kids an opportunity in terms of going out and just playing games and trying to work through things, learning on the fly. You do get a lot of that. So I mean, it's not all bad, but it certainly is a very
yeah.
different.
But it's a totally different
yeah,
game
it is.
from the high school level to
Certainly.
AAU basketball, and those are some of the things that people don't realize because many times I've watched many AAU basketball games, and it's normally an offensive scramble.
It is. Not a lot of defense being
No,
played.
and when you play Indiana high school basketball here, there's a lot of defense played.
Yeah,
There's a lot
absolutely.
of talented defensive players,
Yeah.
okay? The one great thing about this sport is there's a lot of great individual players in the state and in central Indiana because,
Sure.
we have the hotbed for Hamilton County. I don't think there's any place better to play sports than
Yeah.
in Hamilton County.
I wouldn't disagree with that statement.
So, the one thing about it is it's about a team,
Yeah.
okay? It's not, I've seen coaches that, have one or two players,
Yeah.
but it never gels into a team. And a team usually wins out
Sure.
in basketball. I
Yeah.
mean, so,
Obviously, I'm hopeful this year. For those people who are coming, watching, supporting, getting to know who we are now as Westfield girls basketball, because we will have a very different look. I do think that most people will walk away from each outing, with the perception or, I think the main general theme would be those kids play well together. Because we don't have the type of kid that's going to take over a game and can do it all. They're not going to be able to put the team on their shoulders and do it. But what we do have is 5 kids probably that can get out there and get it done together. And so, in a lot of ways, I think will be fun to watch from that aspect.
yeah, well, the one thing about it is, Coach, it's here now.
It is,
And
yeah,
now,
it is.
what, tomorrow night?
Yep,
And
Northwestern.
then, and then what, Friday?
Then we're Saturday. We have
Saturday.
Pendleton coming here, so yeah.
Which is not going to be an easy task.
No,
Pendleton's a very good team.
Pendleton's a good team. Northwestern's a really good
Yeah.
team. I don't think that there's, you can take a look at our schedule. There aren't very many teams that you look at and you're like, oh yeah, that will be an easy one.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen, and that's okay. But yeah, we're here. I mean, it's right around the corner. So
And then, when you kind of look at the schedule, I don't like to look far out and stuff. And I know that you as coaches, because you're focused on your team and one game at a time,
Yeah,
you really
absolutely.
don't look much ahead, okay? But you got a brutal December coming up. So these early games you have, you really, really need to prepare and get ready for Carmel, Zionsville, Noblesville, and then I've been to that Greenfield Central
Yeah.
tournament.
yeah.
In fact, I've broadcast that tournament a couple times. What a great tournament
Great
that
tournament.
is! Wow.
Doug does a really nice job with it. We really enjoyed ourselves last year. Went down there. We made an event of it. Kept the kids down there, stayed the night, went out, had dinner together. Did some fun things. So, but that is a great tournament. Good time for everybody. JV varsity, so everyone's getting experience down there. So yeah, it is good.
Yeah, and for the good teams, it's kind of a gut check when they go there
Sure.
and get beat by another team pretty
Sure.
good, and it also gives you that, when you do those type of things, that's where that team unity comes into
Absolutely,
place.
yeah, yeah. You're right. We do have a lot early, but I look forward to some of these early games just
Oh,
for
yeah.
a lot of reasons. We're teaching our freshmen how to watch film right now. All of those things that people don't even think about that really have to go into to the season and to the preparation piece. So having a few of those early, regardless of what happens on the outcome end of it, our kids are going to get better through it just because of the process that we have to go through just to approach each game.
Sometimes I wished fans could get to see that behind the
Yeah.
scenes of how much work it takes, because in a lot of times, especially when you had a team last year and it was the same way with a couple other teams in Hamilton County, those seniors and juniors and good junior players become icons to the little
Yeah,
kids of
they
how
do.
talented they are, and it's really, I guess that's the one reason why I love girls basketball,
Yeah.
because there's that nurturing, and those senior girls always take time
Yeah.
to spend with those younger kids,
Yeah.
and that's important. But the younger kids do not get to see as much of how hard these kids have to work
Yeah.
to get to where they are today.
Yeah, no, you're
And I know
absolutely
coaches
right.
like you are working very, very hard on that because you try to be a big part of your youth programs and
Yep.
invite them and do those type of things, which is all important.
Yeah, and we're fortunate enough to have Grand Park in our backyard too. And they do a lot of great leagues with kids. And so what we did this fall was, they offered they did a lower level league, so you could go 4th, 5th, 6th, and so my varsity staff and myself took a team from each grade, and we coached those kids through that
That's
fall
great.
league. So we really got an opportunity to get to know them. That allows them to get to know us. And just kind of start again laying that foundation. So as those kids start progressing through the feeder program, they know who I am, they know the expectation, and they know that I'm invested in them. So
Yeah, and it's the one thing good about it too is you get to know those younger players' personalities,
Sure.
okay, and that is so important, okay, and you can help them at a much younger age, which is very important to you.
it is. It's huge. Again, it all comes back to making sure that we're teaching the right things, making sure that the kids have, that basic skill set. So, when I finally do get them as freshmen, we're not taking the time to teach or reteach. It's already instilled in them, and it allows us to start at a different point.
Yeah, and the one great thing about it is you were talking fundamentals, and that is so important because the one thing about fundamentals is a lot of times when kids are 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, some kids mature faster than others, so they have dominated in those,
Sure.
but have bad fundamental skills, okay?
Yeah.
But they've been able to overcome because of their size
Sure.
or quickness.
Yeah, not even do they have bad fundamental skills, they create bad habits, in my opinion. But, for example, if you've got a girl who's really, grown early and she's significantly bigger than everyone else, a lot of times those kids don't know how to work hard because they don't have to work hard. And so you really are trying to teach and instill in them something that is very foreign to them in a lot of ways.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you taking time out here. Probably come December, I may come back and we'll talk about
We'll
where
talk
we
about
are.
that brutal schedule.
Yeah, that brutal schedule coming up here, and looking forward to broadcasting here. Is like I said, we're going to do Saturday's game, okay, which is a big game, Westfield and Pendleton Heights, and Jack Russell will be on the call, and I think Brad Silvert is our voice from Hamilton Southeastern. He'll be here with Jack, so.
All right.
So we'll get some real insight of what this team is all about,
Yeah.
and the new look and new identity. Game tomorrow night.
Yep. Northwestern tomorrow night should be quite a challenge for us. But we're looking forward to it. I'm anxious to see exactly where the kids are at. We had a scrimmage on Saturday, and you kind of get a little snapshot of what you might see or what you might expect. But I'm really anxious to get a good gauge on where the kids are and where we need to go from there.
Well, okay. Well, thank you, Coach, and I
Thank you.
appreciate you taking time out. And we'll see you in about a month. How's that?
Absolutely.
All right.
Sounds
Thanks. Well, welcome. I'm here.